What's going on, guys? Maz here. The 7-star Charizard raid is back. Today, I'm going to show you another powerful Pokemon build that's going to help you defeat and catch that Charizard. Let's go. Here we go. So for those that weren't able to catch the Charizard the first time around, you guys have yourselves a second chance because the raid event is back. We now have ourselves one last chance at this raid event, part 2, I guess you can call it, starting December 16th, and it's going to run until December 18th. Now, I'm not going to take too much of your time in the beginning of this video here. I'm just going to go over it very quickly like I did last time. So in order to participate in this event, there are some things that you guys need to know. Number 1, you do need to complete the game, which means you need all 18 badges, and you also need to finish all 3 story arcs. After you do that, there's a bit of other story plot related things that you need to do. Once you guys see the credits roll, you're going to be able to talk to the biology teacher back at the academy. They're kind of going to send you off on a little bit of a mission to defeat a bunch of 5-star raid dens. After you defeat anywhere from 8 to 10 5-star raid dens, Jacques is then going to give you a call on your Rotom phone, and he's simply going to say that 6-star raid dens are now available, and then you're now able to participate in these raid dens. You're going to be battling a level 100 Charizard. This is the one and only 7-star raid den. We don't normally get these. It's just for this event so far. It is shiny locked. It does have a special mark called the Mightiest mark. You can only catch it once per save file. For those that have already caught your Charizard from the first time we had this event, you're not going to be able to catch another one. Unfortunately, you're still going to be able to defeat the Charizard and get all those really good drops, which is great. You guys can get ability patches and bottle caps, which are fantastic. So this is also going to be a really good way to earn a lot of cash in the game as well. Okay, so now that you guys know how to participate, let's go ahead and jump straight into the game. I'll tell you guys how you can start the event. I'll go right into the build and the Pokemon that we'll be using today. All right, let's go. First thing you're going to do, you're going to open up your main menu. We're going to go to Poké Portal. Now, we do need to have an internet connection. Side note, you don't need a Nintendo Switch online subscription in order to participate in this event. You need a subscription only if you want to play with friends or random people online. If you don't care about that and you still want to access this event just for you yourself, you can absolutely do that. All you need to do is just have an internet connection to your Switch. That's it. So what we're going to do, we're going to connect to the internet. Okay, once we connect to the internet, then just press plus and you're going to see that there's Poké Portal news, and it's just going to tell you about the event here real quick. Okay, so after you've downloaded the latest Poké Portal news, then what you can do, just to make sure it works, go ahead and open up your map, and if we take a quick look here, you're going to see that the event icon is right here. So this is a 7-star raid den, and it has this very distinctive shine around it. So this is how you know it's the raid den event right there. It says even if you're victorious in this Tera raid battle, you won't be able to catch the Tera Pokemon. So as I mentioned, if you've already caught it once during the first rollout of this event, you're not going to be able to catch another one. At the very least, we can still battle it, we can still defeat it and earn those really good rewards. So there's still incentive to do that. Before we actually challenge this event, what we're going to do now is I'm just going to quickly go over the build, what I think is another really strong option to take on this Charizard Tera raid event. So let's take a look. Alrighty, so the build that we're going with today is the Dachsbun build. So for those that have seen my last video, I did go over the Azumarill build that has Belly Drum with huge power. That was an excellent build. It helped me out quite a bit. I was able to solo the 7-star raid Charizard, but we're going to go with something a little bit different. This one here, although it's not as powerful, it is still a very viable option. It's a little bit more on the defensive side, but you're likely going to live a lot longer than with the Azumarill, because the Azumarill, that build is heavily relied upon setting up Belly Drum. If you're not able to set up Belly Drum, it can die pretty quickly. So I'm going to go over stats, the EVs, the moveset, items that you can hold, and that sort of thing. So we'll just take it step by step. So first thing is, where can we find a Dachsbun? You can either catch a Fido or you can catch a Dachsbun, either one, whatever works. So this is where you can find Fidos, and this is where you can find Dachsbun. So if you catch a Fido, just bring it up to level 26 and then it'll evolve. Or if you end up catching yourself a Dachsbun, then that works too. Ideally, you do want to have the Tera type Fairy. I wasn't able to get the Fairy Tera type. I don't have enough Fairy Tera shards either, so I'm not going to be able to truly 100% maximize this build as much as I'd like to, but we're going to get pretty close, which is fine. The first thing that that you want to do. You're going to want to get it up to level 100 because the Charizard that you're fighting is also level 100, so you need to even the playing field. So that's number one. Second thing, I would recommend Adamant Nature just so that way you can hit as hard as possible. If you want to go for a little bit more defensive, you can go for a Careful Nature, which is plus special defense and minus special attack, just because we're not going to be using the special attack stat. But I opted to go for something a little bit more, something that packs a little bit more of a punch. Now, of course, if you don't have the right nature, you can easily go to the city Montenerva, which is right where Glacido Mountain is. All you have to do is go into this shop right here, the Chansey Supply, and you can go ahead and buy yourself a mint. Now, the next thing, when it comes to EVs, I'm not going to go into EV training today. I'll save that for another video. I'm just going based off of what I personally did. I maxed out my attack, so I did 252 EVs, which equals 25 bottles of protein and 2 strength feathers. By the way, you can buy these medications here as well. I put 180 EVs into HP, so that way I can get to a nice 300. And then I put 78 EVs into speed, which will give us a nice 245. You don't have to do exactly what I did. Feel free to play around with the stats. I just wanted to get a nice 300 rounded out number here and just get myself a little bit more speed. But if you want to pump those EVs into special defense instead, you can absolutely do that. This build isn't set in stone, you know, feel free to play around with it, see what works for you. This is what I just personally did. I wanted to go for something that can hit as hard as possible and something that's going to survive. So once we got the EVs done, the next thing that we're going to want to do is you want to max out the IVs, which stand for individual values. And if you go to this guy right here, he's going to do hyper training for you. He's going to give you the best possible stats that you can get for each Pokemon. So I already maxed out the IVs on my Dachsbun here, so I'll just use my Azumarill as an example. So what you need is you need bottle caps. It's 1 bottle cap per stat. Bottle caps are then used to maximize the stat of your Pokemon, and you can get bottle caps very easily in Tera raid dens. So just to kind of show as an example, you can see I maxed out all the stats except for special attack because that's not what Azumarill uses. Exact same thing you're going to want to do for your Dachsbun. If you can, max out every single stat except for special attack because that's not going to be used. This is just to help ensure that your Pokemon is going to be the absolute strongest and bulkiest and fastest that it can possibly be. If you don't have bottle caps, if you don't have a lot of them, what I would then say is try and focus on attack, HP, and special defense if you can. So the important thing here with this build is Dachsbun's ability. If you guys see here, it says well-baked body. So well-baked body, this is what makes Dachsbun so good for this raid. The Pokemon takes no damage when hit by fire type moves, and instead its defense stat is sharply boosted. We have a Charizard that is only going to be using mostly fire type moves, and it's going to use dragon type moves. Dachsbun is a fairy type, so it's already going to be immune to dragon, and with its ability, it's also going to be immune to fire, which means the only thing you need to worry about is the Charizard's Hurricane attack. And Hurricane itself is going to miss, I believe 30% of the time. I think it has a 70% accuracy, so that's pretty good. So this is what makes this Pokemon so good for this raid. Although it's not going to hit as hard as the Azumarill, it is probably going to live much longer, and it's very defensive, which is great. So in terms of longevity, this thing is going to be another excellent choice for you guys. Okay, so we went over the stats, we went over the ability, we went over the nature. Now, in terms of the held item, I would say Shell Bell is probably your best bet because this Charizard has a lot of HP. You're going to be getting back a lot of health every single time that you attack. You could also use the citrus berry as well. Leftovers will also work. Anything that's going to help give us HP, that's what you want. You want to keep this thing alive for as long as possible. I would say if your Dachsbun is going to be more offensive, if you're going to be using it to attack a lot, go for Shell Bell. If you're going to be more defensive, maybe Leftovers might actually be your best bet. Either way, it's up to you guys what you want to do. I'm just kind of giving you what my personal opinions and suggestions are. Okay, so the last and final thing that I want to mention here is our current move set. Now you guys might notice I'm missing a move right now, and there's a very specific reason for that. So I'm going to go ahead and explain why. Okay, so finally let's get into the move set of this build, the most important thing. So you guys can see here I have Play Rough, so that's going to be your primary attacking move. It's got Stab. You could also go for Tera Blast, which is completely up to you, but I would say Play Rough is probably the better choice just because you don't need to wait the 3 turns in order to terrestrialize. So the reason I put Misty Terrain is because not only is it going to half the dragon type power of Charizard's attacks for your entire team, but it's also going to protect you guys from getting burned. You're not going to have any sort of status conditions or anything like that, and you're going to be safe for 5 turns. Helping Hand is going to be good if, let's say, maybe you have an Azumarill on your team. If you go ahead and use Helping Hand plus that Azumarill's belly drum, that Charizard is going to go down very quickly. So I would say Helping Hand is a good option to have as well. In terms of the last and final move, I wanted to go for something that'll give us HP recovery, because I think it's really important. You know, if you're in a pinch, you need that health, you need to have some sort of recovery move to keep yourselves alive. Now, you can go for Rest. I was thinking about Rest. That is a good option. You can actually pair that with a Chesto Berry. So instead of needing to wait for your Pokemon to wake up, you'll simply be able to wake up on the first turn because of the Chesto Berry. So that's one option you can do. However, I was looking at Dachsbun's moveset. I noticed that this Pokemon can learn the egg move Wish. Now, for those that don't know, how you get egg moves in this game is actually a very clever way, and I really like what they did. This is an excellent change. So in order to get egg moves, we're going to go to Cascarefa, and there's a very specific item that we need. I did go over this in my Azumarill video, but I am going to go over it again one more time here. Go into the Delibird shop right here, and if you look under battle items, there's something called a Mirror Herb. This is what we need. Very important. Pricey, but believe me, it's worth it. So what we're going to do, you need to have only 2 Pokemon in your party. You need your Dachsbun, and you need a Pokemon that has the move Wish. In my case, I have this Love Disc here, so you can see that it has Wish. So what we're going to do is put the Mirror Herb on our Dachsbun right here. So now that our Dachsbun has the Mirror Herb, you need to make sure that it has 1 empty slot. This is why I left 1 slot available for this very purpose. Last thing you need to do, just make sure you have these 2 Pokemon. Once you have everything, start up a picnic and immediately pack up and go. And if everything's done correctly, you should now see that, bam, we got ourselves Wish, just like that. And that's how you transfer egg moves to Pokemon in this game, which is so good. I love this. This is a fantastic change. I'm really happy about this. Also, another very quick thing I thought I'd mention, it probably would help if you used a bunch of PP ups on Play Rough, just because Play Rough doesn't have a lot of PP to begin with. It only has 10, and you can end up running out of it very quickly with this build. All right, guys, so there you go. So we have our build. It's complete. So again, Dachsbun, level 100. Ideally, you want it to have the Fairy Tera type Shell Bell item, or you can do Citrus Berry, Leftovers, or Chesto if you're using the move Rest as your healing move. The moves I have are Play Rough, Misty Terrain, Helping Hand, and Wish. And the ability Well-Baked Body to top it all off. So that's it. We're ready to go. Let's see what we can do with this Tera Raid Den. I'm going to see if we can first solo this thing. Let's go ahead and try challenging this thing alone, and let's see how we do. Oh yeah, also I forgot to mention, Charizard will always use Overheat on a random Pokemon on the first turn. Wow, and he got one-shotted. Okay, that's not a good start. So there's the Hurricane. So that's the one thing that we need to worry about. Okay, so I've done some testing here. I've tried to do a few raids now. First thing I'm going to say, this build is not going to be meant for soloing like the Azumarill one was, that's for sure. When you try and solo it by yourself, you don't do enough damage. I found that whenever I tried to do it solo, the teammates that I would have would be very weak to Charizard's moves. You're going to have a lot more success if you try and use this build with a team. So if you can, I would suggest try and do it with some friends, or even just do it online with some random people. That'd probably be your best bet. Okay, so after doing a few raids, I think I know what the strategy is now. I'm going to do Hang Tough on the first turn, because Hurricane is the biggest challenge that Dachsbun faces. And when you do Hang Tough, you're guaranteed to at least live 1 to 2 Hurricanes. Turn 2, I'm going to do Misty Terrain, so that way we can't get burned. And if he tries using Dragon type move on us, it's going to do half damage. Good thing he used Fire Blast on me, so that procs the Well-Baked Body. Next thing I'm going to do Helping Hand on Sylveon. If there's an Azumarill on your team, whoever you think is going to be the strongest, hardest hitting, use Helping Hand on them. There you go. I lived another Hurricane. Beautiful. And look at that. Look how much damage that did. And at this point here, once you have the Misty Terrain up, you've done a helping hand, you've done the defense, that's when I'm going to start wailing on this thing. I'm going to just start straight up attacking it because it's low at this point. You just got to try and get rid of this thing as fast as possible. It also, of course, helps to have a team member that's constantly healing as well. And this one's going quite well. There you go. Uses Fire Blast again. I think we're going to do it. I think we're finally going to beat this one. Let's go! Let's go! Okay, and because I already caught one, it just disappears for me. There you guys have it. Charizard has been defeated. We got ourselves a bunch of candies, shards, got ourselves a bottle cap. So there you guys go. So just to quickly go over that, that was actually a very fast raid. I did have to do more than one. At first, I tried soloing. Soloing is not going to work well with this build. I'm just telling you guys right now. What made us successful, so I had to do a lot of trial and error with this build. You're going to have the most success from what I find. You want to use the defense shout right away on the first turn, use Misty Terrain on the second turn, and then what you want to do is use a helping hand, either if it's an Azumarill or a Sylveon, whoever you believe is going to be the hardest attacking ally, you want to use helping hand on them as much as possible. Wish is going to be there in case you need that extra little healing. Your whole purpose using Dachsbun is to help keep yourself and your team alive. You know, I see so many people compare Azumarill to Dachsbun, we know which build is better. I honestly feel like these builds serve different purposes and they shouldn't really be compared to one another. If anything, I would say that using those two builds combined is what's going to give you a lot of success going forward. Plus we had the Blissey backing us up with the healing shouts. That worked out perfectly and we ended up taking out that den like it was nothing. So I feel like you really do need a balanced team when it comes to this. Let's take a look at the Charizard stats and see exactly what you get once you defeat it. Okay, so after you defeat the Charizard, if you're able to catch it, this is exactly what you get. So those are the moves. So it has its hidden ability Solar Power. It will always be a modest nature. It has perfect IVs, so 31 IVs across the board. And the last thing it has is the Mightiest mark, a mark for a Pokemon caught in a 7-star Tera raid battle. And there you guys have it. That was the Dachsbun build. So we got ourselves the Charizard. If there's any other builds that you want me to try out, let me know in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to try out some other builds, make some other videos like this for you guys. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please be sure to give the video a like and subscribe as well. I would really appreciate that. I did also just want to give a very quick shout out to you guys for helping me reach over 1,000 subscribers on the channel. It really does mean a lot to me and I'm just so excited for the future. I can't wait to make more videos for you guys. And again, thank you all so much for the support. It really does mean a lot to me. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All the best, guys. Have a good one.